I think I downloaded the wrong game.
How's it going, everybody? Kel here, and today we're gonna talk about a video. We're gonna talk about a game. All right. So you may not know, but like many of you, right? I also enjoy the old Battlefront games, but there's one game in particular that has sat in the back of my mind, lingering like a sleep paralysis demon, just kind of huddled in the corner, watching me. Right? And that is 2009's forgotten Battlefront-like Lord of the Rings Conquest, also developed by Pandemic. Today we're going to talk about that. So, let's jump right in. Releasing back in 2009 for PC, PS3, Xbox 360, and the Nintendo DS, apparently, Lord of the Rings Conquest was Pandemic's attempt at taking their ever-popular Star Wars Battlefront formula and applying it to a fantasy setting. And what better fantasy setting to use it on than Lord of the Rings? Admittedly, aside from the character and level designs, the game isn't really an accurate portrayal of the Lord of the Rings. There's weird design choices galore, and on top of that, the story missions are mostly what-if scenarios. The game released to extremely mixed reviews, and most people didn't seem to care much for it, which, I'll be honest, was news to me. See, I had grown up playing Lord of the Rings Conquest a lot on my PS3. I'd go as far as to say that it was one of my absolute favorite games as a kid, and at the time, with no Battlefront game being available on the PS3, this was the next best thing. I've been on a bit of a nostalgia kick lately and decided I'd go back and play it again now as an adult and see if those original reviews were onto something or if Lord of the Rings Conquest is a forgotten gem lost to time. So, without further ado, let's jump right into Battlefront at Home. Conquest has two different campaign modes, the War of the Ring campaign and the Rise of Sauron campaign. Since we must complete the former to unlock the latter, we're gonna go with the War of the Ring campaign. This story loosely follows a mix of the events of the movies and books, somewhat out of order. At least, I think. I'll be honest, I haven't read the books because reading is for nerds. Anyways, back to talking about Lord of the Rings. The first mission of the campaign is the Battle for Helm's Deep, which acts as a tutorial for the game itself. Here, we get to play as one of four classes. Warrior, which is what you'd expect. Basic melee, except you can also ignite your sword and anime charge through hordes of enemies. I don't remember this from the movies. Archer, which is just your standard range class. You can rapid fire your bow for lower damage or aim for slower but higher damage. Archers can also imbue their arrows with fire or poison, and also fire 3 arrows at once, all on separate cooldown abilities. There's the Rogue, which can go invisible and stealth around the battlefield. They move quickly and have fast strikes and firebombs at their disposal. They also have a somewhat overpowered instant kill move that can one-shot even hero characters, meaning you're constantly turning your character around in the heat of battle to make sure you don't get backstabbed by these little rats. Then you have mages, which are the best class in the game, hands down. Mages have fireballs, lightning, AoE pushbacks, shields for allies, and a heal that not only restores life to the player, but also nearby allies. These guys are super overpowered. I decided to go with the Archer because I tend to like the ranged playstyle. After fighting back the first wave of orcs, we see that they're sending out torchbearers to destroy the walls, and it's our job to snuff them out. Or at least it would be if the game didn't fucking break itself every time this cutscene plays. It keeps getting stuck on a black screen, and turns out having either VSync on or the refresh rate set above 60 Hz causes the screen to stay black or become so incredibly dark that you can only see the orcs when they smile. Anyways, with that sorted and my frame rate less smooth, we kill the torchbearers and manage to keep the wall intact. It's a short-lived victory, however, as almost comedically, the orcs just sidestep the wall and use the wheelchair-accessible ramp that's right next to them. The orcs start storming the keep, and after pushing them back, we get to play as Aragorn. Lord of the Rings Conquest has the same hero system brought over from the Battlefront series. In instant action, the player with the highest score is offered to play as a hero, and in the campaign, the choice is given during specific moments. Aragorn plays very similar to the standard warrior class, except instead of fire, you shoot dudes out of your sword. With Aragorn's help, we manage to win the battle and push the orcs back. Next up is the Battle of Isengard, where we assault Saruman's tower, slaughtering our way through the orc forces and dismantling their machines. This is where some of the problems with the core gameplay and balancing start to show. With regards to melee combat, the weapons feel a bit weak. It feels a lot like the game was focused on having loads of enemies on screen, with most of the abilities being single target, and as a result, melee combat feels a bit clunky. Also, for some reason, the block button is the same as the dodge button, so in order to properly block, you need to completely stop moving in a direction, or else you'll just dodge and be in the completely wrong place to block. It's kind of... okay, breaking script here, it's so infuriating, oh my god. Magic combat, on the other hand, as I said earlier, mages are overpowered. But this was my first real experience using it at this point, and oh my god! Look at how quickly you can just blast through every enemy type and keep yourself healed up. It's not even close to balanced. Anyways, we dismantle the vague machines and then we join up with the Ents. Another carryover from Battlefront is vehicles, kind of. Obviously, we don't have tanks, so aside from catapults and olifants in 2 specific maps, the vehicles in this game are giant characters like Ents and Trolls. These big units are also very strong, not just because they can 1 to 2 shot each enemy, but because they also have the ability to heal themselves and nearby allies. We use the Ents to smash through the last of the orc forces and move on to confront Saruman. Here, we get offered to play as Gandalf, and if the mages by themselves are strong, Gandalf is completely broken. His chain lightning actually arcs between enemies and allows for virtually all of his abilities to be AoE. We knock down Saruman's door and beat the ever-living shit out of him. Mission 3 follows the Gondorians aiding Gimli in retaking the mines of Moria. Sorry, Return to Moria, Lord of the Rings Conquest did it first. Just a minor complaint, but when developing the game, Pandemic seemed to want to bank on people's fondness for the franchise by throwing in certain lines and references. That, in and of itself, would be fine, but sometimes they don't really make a whole lot of sense.
Haste is less than remarkable. I should clearly not wait for an elf.
Gimli? I'm a Gondorian warrior. Are you okay? Not entirely sure why it even had us pick a character though, as we immediately get to play as Gimli, and I will say, he's quite the little unit. Gimli's moveset differs from the other warrior characters in one key aspect. Instead of a throwing axe, he gets the satchel bomb that the rogue class has, which actually makes him extremely efficient at clearing out hordes of enemies, and I accidentally ran off the edge of a cliff. Back to the mage. It's not long before we end up getting to play as Gandalf yet again, and we come face to face with the Balrog.
Fly, you fools!
The next fight is in Osgiliath, and this is where I noticed 2 things. 1, I am absolutely convinced that at least some of these orc and goblin noises are either unused or reused Tusken Raider yells from Battlefront. Just listen to these side by side. The next thing I noticed is that the announcer's voiceover is, well, bad. Like, really bad. I'm actually not sure how they signed off on this.
Take cover! Archers in the ruins! Archers! Ah, they will feel that! Such a pounding was worth the sacrifice!
Hey yo, what the fuck?
The mission itself is pretty uneventful. We play as Faramir babysitting Frodo through the city, making sure he doesn't trip over his big-ass feet before heading off to Mount Doom. After this is Minas Tirith, during the battle from Return of the King. We hold off the orcs and get to play as Gandalf the Goat, fighting our way through the city and destroying the orc siege weapons to eventually hold out at the last gate to the inner walls. If you're familiar with the battle for Minas Tirith, then you're also probably familiar with the more iconic battle in the fields of Pelennor, which also happens to be the next level. Here, we get to play as Legolas and... shit. We get to play as a nondescript archer and kill the Olifants and destroy the orc siege weapons until the Witch King arrives, where we then get to play as Éowyn and reenact that scene from the movie. Shit! After felling the Witch King, we take the fight to the orcs and make our way to Minas Morgul in what is the single most frustrating objective up to this point. We have to destroy power crystals placed around the area while holding off the 9 Nazgul. It's the most annoying thing juggling the objective while fighting 9 hero characters at once. We do manage to persevere though and pull out a win for the forces of man. The final mission of this campaign is the Black Gate. And in a change to the normal formula up to this point, we get access to all the hero characters at once. And by that, I mean we get to play as Gandalf the whole time. After destroying the orc forces, towers, and getting picked up by the Nazgul a couple times, wait, didn't we kill these assholes in the last mission? What the fuck was the point of that soul-crushing fight if they're just here anyways? Whatever. The Mouth of Sauron comes out, we beat his ass, and then Frodo tosses the ring into the fires of Mount Doom, and the game ends. So, yeah, the good campaign is mostly just a retreading of the story we're already familiar with, albeit with a few what-ifs thrown in along the way. Where Conquest really sets itself apart and does something different is in its evil campaign, The Rise of Sauron. This campaign starts immediately where the last one ended, but with a what-if where Frodo succumbs to his desires and attempts to flee from Mount Doom with the One Ring. We get to play as the Nazgul, who are tasked with hunting him down to retrieve the ring for Sauron. Unfortunately for us, our way is blocked by hordes of orcs from different clans that have chosen to try and take the ring for themselves and have turned against Sauron. Well, I guess that's more unfortunate for them, really. During this mission, we once again raise the Witch King from death and use him to bash our way to the Nazgul slash their way to Frodo and reclaim the Ring of Power. After this, with Sauron now in control of the ring, we begin tearing our way through all the forces of man, mostly retreading the same missions from before. Mission 2 focuses on the Mouth of Sauron leading the Orc Horde back to Osgiliath where we… Wait a minute. Why the hell does the Orc Mage run like this? It wasn't enough to make him look like a clown, you gotta make him run like one too? Regardless of how he looks, this sentient dumpling still has the same power as the human mage. Thankfully, we don't have to play as him for long, as the hero character we're offered is the Mouth of Sauron, who we use to quickly evaporate Faramir. The Mouth plays very similarly to Gandalf and kind of feels like a beefed up version of the standard mage class. Mission 3 is Minas Tirith, where Saruman is alive, apparently. We get to play as him, and he's arguably more busted than either Gandalf or the Mouth because his AoE slam attack hits twice and in a larger area. Also, his fireball attack fires in a straight line rather than an arc. Anyways, we torch some fucking twig the Gondorians seem pretty upset about. What's the matter? You guys don't like burning some bush? After smoking out Minas Tirith, we make our way back down to the Mines of Moria for Mission 3 with the goal of reawakening the Balrog. We run frantically through the mines, killing all in our way, summon the Balrog, and use him to whip Gimli into submission.
Oh yeah,
why is he asking for more?
In Mission 4, the forces of Middle-earth have set up their last-ditch effort to stop our malignant crusade. Yeah, you like that shit? That's a big word for me. This, for me, was the hardest mission of the evil campaign, but mainly because I'm a massive idiot and thought I could just charge their catapults and forts with regular ground units, so I naturally failed my first run. Turns out there's cave trolls behind spawn and they turned the difficulty to 0. Okay, seriously though, like I said earlier with the Ents, the giant units are straight up broken. Not only do they punt fuck everything in sight, but they can also heal themselves, which by the way was already questionable with the Ents, but hey, fuck it, nature magic, right? But the trolls' screams heal the orcs and themselves? Why the fuck would that work like that? Is it a threat? Is it comforting, like it reminds the orcs of hell? I don't get it. Questionable healing abilities aside, we do manage to destroy the catapults and outposts. Fighting our way up the hill, we once again take control of Saruman to face off with Aragorn, who we shove so much lightning inside of, even Palpatine would be like, "Jesus, dude, he's already dead." Okay. In Mission 5, the orcs finally arrive at Rivendell, and holy shit! We get to play as the Uruk-hai this time. Yes, dude! Look at how cool this mage looks. This guy fucks. No, he doesn't. Why? Why does he still run like a fucking clown, dude? I got gaslit into saying this guy was cool, and he's doing the Middle-earth equivalent of Naruto running. The Rivendell mission feels very similar to the Jedi Temple mission in Battlefront 2, even down to burning archives in an extremely similar manner. There's a metric shit ton of enemies, that's a fuck ton in Imperial, so I found it easier to use the rogue to stealth around and quickly destroy the objectives. After destroying the archives, Elrond attempts to stop our assault. The loser wasn't paying attention though, so we stab Mr. Smith in the back, take his ring, and sprint back to Daddy Sauron. After hand-delivering the Ring of Air to Sauron, we get rewarded by playing as the Dark Lord himself, and holy shit! Sauron, while his attacks aren't amazing, he plays like a mix of the warrior, mage, and giant units. He has the AoE attacks, cleave attacks, and he can't be stunned or staggered, which is perfect because our next objective has us fighting both Legolas and Elrond again? While they did nearly pull out a win, we managed to kill both elves, signaling the end of the last bastion of Middle-earth. Well, almost last bastion. There's one more mission, and this one really just feels spiteful. Sauron leads the orcs to the Shire in an ensemble finale to the campaign. We got orcs, we got cave trolls, we got Balrog. Wait, what? Yeah, we pull out all the stops to burn the Hobbit village to the ground. Gandalf shows up for a rematch with the Balrog, or at least it would have been a rematch if I didn't fumble fuck my keyboard and drown the damn thing myself. Not to worry though, shortly after, Sauron arrives, and... In the most anticlimactic end to the campaign, random orc mage number 23 manages to lightning bolt Gandalf into oblivion.
Nah!
And with that, the orcs take full control over Middle-earth, marking the end of the evil campaign. So that was Lord of the Rings Conquest. Honestly, it's not the worst. It's no Star Wars Battlefront, that's for sure. And it's quite easy to see why this game fell into obscurity. The combat is janky, the voice acting is incredibly hit or miss, the graphics, even for the time, were mediocre at best, and the animation for some of the characters are absolutely god-awful. Looking at you, Orc Mage. There is an instant action mode, just like in the Battlefront games, that allows you to play through the individual maps as a standalone battle or in a playlist. But that's it for the other modes. It would have been interesting to see a Middle-earth themed Galactic Conquest mode. Obviously, with the multiplayer being long shut down, there's no testing that, but even then it still would have been limited to instant action, so it wouldn't have been much different. Despite all its problems, I do have incredibly fond memories of this game. Like I said in the intro, with a distinct lack of Battlefront games on the PS3, this was the closest thing we had at the time. I remember staying up late playing online with my friends, or even playing split screen during sleepovers, and having a really good time with it. We've been seeing a lot of remasters and remakes lately, including of Conquest's elder siblings, and while I'd love to see this game get the same treatment, it's firmly relegated to being abandonware, which is a shame. Hell, you can't even buy it anymore, and you haven't been able to for at least a decade. Personally, I'd love to get a new Conquest-style Lord of the Rings game in the future. And hey, with the new resurgence of Lord of the Rings media, despite its hit-or-miss nature, maybe there's still a chance. Alright, so that was Lord of the Rings Conquest. I hope you enjoyed it, because this one nearly killed me. I don't know. I've been working on this one off and on since like January. Had to re-record like 5 times. I had to replay the game twice because there was shit missing. I don't know. It was a mess. But while I enjoyed the game, I'm so glad to be done with it. Anyways, if you liked the video, consider dropping a like and subscribing. It helps out the channel and helps me get these videos out to more people. And whether you liked it or didn't, leave a comment, because I love hearing from you and getting your input on the games I talk about. Anyways, that's all for now. See you on the next one. Bye-bye!